Just when it says evaluate, this isn't solving, this is just simplifying. So what we want to do is everywhere there's an A, we're going to plug in a 2. So number 1 becomes 2 minus 5 minus 1. And 2 minus 5 is negative 3. And the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. So it's 3 minus 1, which is 2. Number 2, B is negative 3, so it's negative 3 plus 1 plus 8. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2, so that one's 10. Number 3 is 5 minus negative 4 plus 1. So 5 minus the absolute value of negative 3, which is 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then I'm going to have to go sideways on number 4. A is 2, B is negative 3, C is negative 4. So I get 2 plus negative 3, which is negative 1, and then minus a negative is positive. So that's 1 plus 4, which is 5. Any questions on any of those? So the absolute value part is alone already. So I'm going to do the split. So it equals 15, or it equals negative 15. Okay. I subtract 4 from both sides. So W equals 11. Or if I subtract 4 from both sides over here, W equals negative 19. Okay, for this one, again, the absolute value is already alone, so I'm going to split it. So C minus 9 equals 7, C minus 9 equals negative 7. Add 9 to both sides. C equals 16, or C equals 2. We had to get the absolute value alone first, so I've got absolute value minus 6, so I'm going to add 6 first. So that's 13. Now that I have the absolute value alone, that's when I can do the split. So I have n plus 2 is 13, or n plus 2 is negative 13. Subtract 2. I'm just going to go ahead and write it both times. So I subtract 2 from both sides here to get n is 11. And if I subtract 2 here, I get n is negative 15. Okay. Here I'm being multiplied, and I can't multiply in. Remember, absolute values of well, we can't go in. So we have to divide both sides by negative 5. Which gives me the absolute value of t plus 6 is 8. Now, if this had been a positive 5, this would have been a negative 8. And remember, if I get a negative like this, absolute value can't be negative, so if that happens, you would have no solution. So, but right now we're positive, so we're okay. And we're going to split. So t plus 6 equals 8, t plus 6 equals negative 8. Subtract 6 from both sides. T equals 2, or t equals negative 14. I don't like that box. Okay, but don't forget this. Determine if two ratios make a proportion. This is where we cross multiply. So I'm going to say 4 times 25 and 5 times 20. This is 100. This is 100. Those are equal, so yes. For number 10, 7 times 90, and 16 times 42. Okay, so I have 630 and 672. These are not equal, so no. 5 times 11, 7 times 9, 55, 63. Those are not equal, so neither are these. 6 times 28, 7 times 24. 168? Both? Okay. Those are equal, so yes. 3 times 98, 21 times 14, both of them? 294? Equal, so yes. 8 times 81 and 9 times 72. Yeah, I was going to say, I knew those were going to be equal because if I multiply by 9. So,
I was going to say that with the first one.
Yeah,
You just look at it.
Multiply it by 5. But sometimes it's not as obvious. Okay, questions on those? All right, so now we use that same property to solve these. So we cross multiply, and I get 12m is equal to 7 times 36, which is...
7 times 36 is 252.
I'm going to divide by 12.
It's 21.
Okay, so that was number 15. I guess I just didn't give enough space, but 16. I've got 23y is equal to 6 times 69. So
6 times 69 is 414.
divide by 23, and I believe it is 18. Okay. 17, 42f is equal to 6 times 56, which is
336.
8, right? Okay. B times 1 is equal to 7 times 9, so B is 63. 19. 10 times m is equal to 14 times 30.
120.
So m is 42. And then 20, we have 15n is equal to 11 times 60. Oops. I guess I should multiply before I divide.
660.
Is it? No, yeah, I guess it is.
Am I not right?
No, I wasn't doing it in my head. That's going to be 44, right?
44, yes.
44. Because you have some distribution, so when I cross multiply, I get 12 times x plus 1 is equal to 5 times 4. So I have to do that distribution. So 12x plus 12 is equal to 20. Subtract 12 from both sides. 12x is equal to 8. Divide by 12. And x is equal to, both of these divide by 4, so 2/3. Okay. If you wrote 8/12, you would not, like, it would not be completely wrong answer. I'd just say, hey, reduce. Yeah. Remember to distribute when you have that expression. So this one is going to be 7 times r plus 2 is equal to 7 times 5. So 7r plus 14 equals 35. Subtract 14, and I get 7r is equal to 21. Divide by 7, r equals 3. final cross multiplication, I get 7 times x minus 2 is equal to 3 times 6. So 7x minus 14 is equal to 18. And this time I'm going to add 14 to both sides. And I'll get 7x is equal to 32. Yeah, and divide by 7. And x is equal to 32 sevenths. Get the idea. Okay, so we're going to determine the percent of change, which remember is the new minus the original divided by the original. So 60 minus 48 divided by 48. So that is 12 over 48, which is going to be 0.25, which is 25%. For this one, we have 45 minus 60 over 60. So that's negative 15 over 60, which is, yeah, negative 0.25, so that's going to be negative 25%. These are, I only gave you 2 of these, one mixture problem and one motion problem on the test as well. So we've got the type of grass, right? We've got Kentucky bluegrass, $5.75 per pound. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in. And tall fescue for $4.50 per pound. And they want to sell a mixture for $5.25 per pound. Okay. K is the amount of Kentucky bluegrass. So K in 5 pounds of the mixture. So this is 5. So I need to figure out how much of this is there. Well, if this is 5 pounds and this is K, this is going to have to be 5 minus K, because K plus 5 or K plus 5 minus K will equal 5, right? So if this was 3, this would be 2 kind of idea. Does that make sense? So if you can't figure out what to put here, think about this with a real number. Just throw a 2 on there. So if this was 2, that would be 3, and then you'll know that that meant you had to subtract. Does that make sense? But remember, as we move down, this plus this equals that. So if we have this, we're subtracting something to get the other one. Okay. Then the cost, remember we multiply column 1 times column 2 to get column 3. I know 1 times 2 doesn't equal 3, but we're doing columns. So this is going to be 5.75K. And this one is going to be 4.5 times 5 minus K. And then we have to distribute it. So 4.5 times 5 is 22.5 minus 4.5K. And then here I get 5 times 5, 25. So I'll write it over here as 5 times 5, 25, and that gives me 26.25. Okay, and just like in this first column, as we come down here, this is plus equals. So 5.75K plus 22.5 minus 4.5K is going to equal 26.25. The table filled out, this plus this equals that, so now we have our equation. So I need to combine my K's on the same side. So I have 5.75 minus 4.5, which is going to give me, I think, 1.25, but I'm just going to double check myself. Okay. So I have 1.25K plus 22.5 equals 26.25. I subtract that 22.5 from both sides. And I get 1.25K is equal to, I don't feel, what is it, 3.75? divide by 1.25, and k equals 3. So they're going to use 3 pounds of Kentucky bluegrass, and then I'll use 2 pounds of fescue. But you didn't have to say that, you just wanted to find k, but that's how it would work. I'm going to draw a picture. 2 commuter trains carry passengers between 2 cities. So here's city 1, and here's city 2, and here's train 1, and I'll put the smokestack in the correct place this time. And here's train 2. And this is 150 miles. All right, so both trains leave at the same time. One travels 55 miles per hour, and the other one is 65 miles per hour. And we want to know, what time do they meet? Okay, so they're going to go a total of 150 miles, right? So the rate times time of train 1 plus the rate times time of train 2 is going to equal 150 miles. Because does that make sense? The 2 trains together will total 150 miles. So I have 55t plus 65t. Okay, divide by 120. That's 1.25 hours.